Don't label yourself. Try to do better than who you were yesterday and try to improve it. Just because you have ADHD or ADD or other symptoms, it doesn't mean that you cannot do better or you cannot improve. You have something and you decide, you take the responsibility that what you would like to do about it.
Welcome to another episode of Inspiroqa podcast. Today we're going to be diving into something that affects us all: family, love, parenting, and the invisible threads that shape how we love, react, and raise the next generation. Our guest is one of the Family Constellations practitioners in the USA, guiding parents to heal generational traumas and raise their children with deeper awareness and connection. She helps parents to become the better version of themselves. So let me welcome entrepreneur, parenting coach, and the founder of Awareness, Blanka Molnar. Blanka, thank you so much for coming to our interview. I'm so excited to talk, to share your journey. How are you today?
Hello, and thank you so much for having me here. I'm good. I'm doing well. We had a great weekend, so.
That's the best. It's funny, right now I have like 10 a.m., you have 9 p.m. It's like you said at the beginning of our conversation, you are talking to the future, I'm talking to the past. It's really funny these days how we can reconnect. So the reason why I would wanted to have you in this podcast is because you have such a great gift. You do the parenting constellations. You have parents and families to have a better relationships. So could you please tell us more? How did your journey start? How did you find that doing the constellations, focusing for parents coaching?
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in Hungary, in Budapest. And I was 26 years old when I decided I had my corporate life. I graduated as an economist, but I was 26 and I had a midlife crisis when I was 26. and and I felt that this cannot be my life. So I had my family, friends. It was an average life back in Budapest in corporate real estate. And I was like, this cannot be it. And I got an idea from a former colleague of mine who became an au pair. So I got some ideas from her, and I decided that I moved to California a year later to become an au pair and take care of two kiddos, actually in a multicultural family. The mom is Hungarian and the dad is Chinese American. So we were speaking three languages in the. It was very good. And so one day I was having a meltdown with the kids. It was only 9 a.m. and we already went through a lot of snacks, lots of meltdowns, but all three of us with the kids, we were like, no. And in that moment, I realized that actually all those impatient patience and feelings and emotions, what I was coming up in that moment when I was like super tired and very bad day already. And that's when I realized that how much stuff actually we are passing on to our kids.
Yeah.
Because whatever and I wanted to say, it wasn't from me. It felt like somebody else is speaking. And it was actually my dad and my mom's head in my mind. And I will be honest, it scared me because I wanted to be a loving and caring, and I was a loving and caring au pair. But there were these autopilot moments in my head running. And I sat down with myself that, oh Lord, what can I do about this? Because this cannot be. So I was lucky to have a dry run with the kids. We are still in contact. They still love me. I still love them. I didn't do much damage. But I had an opportunity to recalibrate, to rewire my brain, and that moment actually sparked a moment, and I embarked on a spiritual healing or a healing journey. And during the last 12 years, actually 13 in this year, I did so much healing and I tried different modalities. I did traditional therapy for 2.5 years. I read a lot of books and I did a lot of holistic therapy. And it was family constellation that was always something very deep and transformational for me. So I felt like with traditional therapy, I was just like scratching the surface. And family constellation can bring me very down, but can bring me up very effectively,
Yeah.
even in one session. So fast forward, met my husband in London and I moved to Texas for him and we wanted to have a baby and it didn't come as easy as we thought and we had multiple miscarriages within 1 year and that's when I turned back to family constellation and started to heal from inside out and actually now we have a healthy happy toddler who is sleeping right now. And I wanted to heal for herself and for myself. So I decided that I learned family constellation so I can pass this knowledge on to other parents and they
Wow.
can become more conscious parents in their parenting.
Wow, that's really beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing to us. The reason why I asked this question because I want our listeners, our viewers to understand like it's not just like you decide to be like a coach or a family constellation.
No,
Usually what's the best, you have to have the past experiences, which you have, and you described it very well. And I'm so happy that you have a beautiful toddler. I hope she's gonna be sleeping well. And
I hope so too.
I see. I'm also coming from the past communism country, which you are from Hungary, I'm from Slovakia. So we had the same. We've been affected by the system that was given to us. And yes, I'm also coming from a family where we had money, we had enough money to, let's say, to normal life. And when somebody was like rich, oh, this guy is rich, like he's not a good person. We had this kind of stuff as well.
Mhm.
So I'm happy that you find out that family constellations is the something that you really would like to do in this life, which is the best. And I can see that people need it. If I'm not wrong, I also joined a special family constellation in Prague like a couple of years ago. And it was focusing for something. We basically chose a person, she chose the situations, but we were healing all. And suddenly my life
Yes.
shifted in this way. A couple of months ago, I did a constellation for myself, for Inspiroqa. And those answers that I got, I was like, damn.
Mhm.
So for those who don't know what is constellations, could you please describe us what is actually a constellation in a generally
Sure.
speaking?
Yeah, sure. So, as you mentioned, you can do a group healing, group family constellation
Mm-hmm.
session. Right now, I'm doing actually focusing on individual sessions. So, the founder of Family Constellation was a German psychologist, Bert Hellinger. He actually passed away recently, like 2019. And what he said that actually our challenges, what we have in our current life or what our kids have in their current life, like financial, emotional, physical, mental, any sicknesses, autoimmune diseases, cancer, ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
all these can root into a past trauma. So, and it can go all the way back to seven generations.
Yeah.
So, seven generations. So, for example, a great example that somebody is struggling with conceiving or fertility problems, and they go all the different specialists, they check everything meant to be okay, like physically, but something is blocking.
Yeah.
And it can, for example, that 5 generation back, a great great grandmother passed away giving birth and what the trauma is inherited actually in the DNA that giving birth or having a child
Mm-hmm.
is lethal. I can die. So, what you get in your DNA by the time that, okay, you want to have a baby, but actually your subconscious mind is blocking you because you can die if you have a baby. So, and the beauty of family constellation that how would you know what happened 5 or 6 or 7 generations back? If you are lucky, you know your great grandparents and you heard some family stories. But sometimes it turns out that the family stories are not the family stories that actually happened because we have a lot of skeletons hanging around. So, how would you know that actually something back then, like was inherited. And there were researches that actually trauma can be inherited. And what
Mm-hmm.
people don't know is like people like to talk about that, oh, the past is the past. Why would we speak about it? And just because the Second World War, the First World War, the Great Depression, the Holocaust is behind us, it doesn't mean that actually they are not affecting us as of today. Slavery,
Oh, yeah.
Holocaust, Korean War, Vietnamese War, they are all still lingering around and it's in our DNA. Your country's history, my country's history, I mean the US, the US has a heavy history too. Those are all heavily in our generation's DNA. And we are consciously have to heal it so
Mm-hmm.
we are not passing that baggage on to our kids.
Oh, yeah. But not so many people understand it because when there is a problem, like there's a couple that would like to have a baby and it's not happening very well, like your story was, then they usually go to doctor. They tell them like, okay, you can pay this certain of money. We're gonna take your egg and sperm, put them together, and put it inside of a belly, and we will see. But it also doesn't work. Sometimes it works, yeah, because that's the business
Yes.
for them. But if it doesn't work, and they already try, like my cousin has this case, and I was like, yes, I understand what is going on, but there has to be the other way, which in this case, family constellations or just a coaching or talking to somebody who really understands the topic could be helpful. So I'm happy that we're talking about this topic in this episode. So that brings me to the other question. We're gonna be talking about like the family and parenting challenges today because I know you can give us the best answers for that. So my first question about it is like, what do you see parents struggling with the most these days?
Oh, where shall I start? So,
Take your time.
what we are struggling with is like how we were parented, it's affecting us and how we parent.
Yeah.
So that means a lot of baggage. So as we mentioned that we bring our cultures, we bring
Mm-hmm.
our families, and we bring our own experiences and our own life into this equation. And then you get a kid who is all different than you expected. You get a little boy and you were expecting a little girl, or the other way around. And so these problems are very complex. And meanwhile, we are overloaded. We are overloaded with information. Social media is out there, and everybody has an opinion what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And you are just running around like headless chicken that, okay, who should I listen to? What shall I do? And what we forget is actually as parents, is listening to ourselves
Mm-hmm.
first. It's good to have brilliant minds out there. You have to filter who you are listening to, by the way, even or who you follow on social media or whose book. And also you have to take into consideration what are your values,
Oh yeah.
what is important for you, and what are your personalities as a parent. So are you an introvert? Are you an extroverted? And when you know who you are and you can ask the question, there are plenty of lovely personality types, test types, and other things just to start with. But like human design is great for that. And
Mm-hmm.
you know who you are, and then you are um you make a conscious choice that okay, this is me, and who is my child? I want to know my child better.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do the same with them then. It takes time. It takes a lot of energy to sit down actually with the child. Is she an introvert? Is he an extroverted? What do they like? And
Yeah.
so all the parenting is like these are all problems. It's actually first of all we don't get a manual with our children. We don't go to school to parent. So where are you getting all these experiences from? It's like you get it from your own parents and that affects you. And then you have this autopilot because of these all those inherited things. And you get a baby and you are full of expectations. I will be a loving, caring, patient mom, not impatient, patient mom. And then it goes out of the window because you are just there and it's all changing. And so the complex problem is like, first of all, we don't know who we are and we don't know how to parent. So these are all the complex problems we have.
Yeah, that's I would agree with that because like my parents they gave me love. I really loved and they are still the best parents I could even imagine to have in my life. And the way they parented myself, it was like what they learned from their parents, because there was nothing like there were no parent coaching or whatsoever as we have these days. But what I see these days, like when there's a family, for example, here in Indonesia or let's say all over the world, I
Yeah.
see it when I travel. And there's a nice couple about 30 to 35 years old having a child, let's say 2 years old. And it looks like for sure they give the love to the baby. But when they go somewhere, they just give, for example, the phone or tablet to this baby. Take your time. I'm not gonna do. When I was 2 years old or 4 years old, also you the time we didn't have phones, we didn't have tablets, we had nothing. So we
Yes.
got attention from our parents. They were literally 100% with us. And if we were screaming or something, they just slap us so we could stop. Especially if we were in public area. Do it this time. Police will come immediately. You see how we change, and what I see it affects. So there has to be like parents should be looking for the other way, which you described very well. Like, okay, you are my child. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do the constellation. I'm gonna do like human design, whatsoever is necessary to understand your needs, to understand you. I'm not gonna be like this kind of mommy or daddy, like, oh, it's okay. He's playing, he's crying. Let him cry. Let him release his traumas.
Yes.
Cannot be like this. There has to be some other approach because people will be like, or what I see, there's a special one. They let them do everything. Like there's some kind of like studies like Montessori school or the other this kind of new age schools, or green schools, for example, and they let them do whatever they need so they can learn by themselves. But what I see, there has to be somebody to tell them, just stop it, don't do it this way. But usually those kids, they'll be just screaming, crying, and then that's a challenge. Then like, okay, I give you the phone, you know and how does this actual affect families at home? Like what I see, it's not a good relationship when you are holding baby. You just give them phone or tablet, and you, for example, you are calling with your friend, or you just like watching movie and your baby next to you. It looks like you don't care about the baby. Just here's a
Yes.
tablet, enjoy your time.
So that's also a very hard part to find that, okay, we grew up in very strict countries.
Oh yeah.
So we grew up in very strict countries and with very strict rules and very disciplined. But here I see the 180 swing into the other way around, that is actually like, as you mentioned, is like do whatever you want and there's like no disciplining or nothing. So it's very hard to find that, very hard to find that, to that balance.
Okay, okay, yeah, it's supposed to be balanced. I do agree as well. Like these days, there should be some kind of a way to explain. Like we have a new technologies as we had like long time ago. There is tablet, there is phone, but what I see, our children, I call them our children. It's really
Yeah.
nice. How do we call it? They are so addicted these days to the phones, to the
Yes.
tablets especially. They are just gaming. I see also here in Bali families that's really also around this area. Families like, I wouldn't say they don't care, but they just give them phone like Samsung or whatever it is. Just let them play. And I see like, I don't know if the relationship between the mother and the kids is good, or they just want to relax. They work too much. We don't understand what is that, and nobody's gonna tell them like, guys, there has to be a better way. Like, have you ever thought about it? What's gonna happen with your children in the future? What if your children could have ADHD or something like this? which like these days doctor tells you, oh, ADHD grows every year, because I also seen some videos about it,
Yes.
and they say like, oh, it's coming from DNA, it's coming from your parents, whatever. But what I see, okay, it's growing, yeah, but we should do something. I don't think it's coming from DNA. I don't think it was meant to be like I came to this world with these DNA problems, and when I'm gonna be 10, suddenly I'm gonna be diagnosed by ADD or ADHD or OCD, whatever is it. It's coming from the attention problems. The other example is like there is a child where I was like a parenting when I was having a nice relationship, and she was diagnosed by ADHD a couple of years ago. She's 11 right now, so she has at school like a special care from the other teacher who is telling her, who is with her every single day, like going slowly step by step with the math, with the languages, and all the subjects, you know. So I see it's like, why is it like this? And I think it's coming from like parents don't give too much attention for the kids these days, because we are usually busy. I understand the economic situation, economic sphere, you know, we want to have more money, so we focus more for the work, for the money, so we can give as much as we can for the children. How do you see it these days? Am I like, do I see it wrong, or is it really happening?
It's really happening. So, first of all, the ADHD and our other conditions, mental conditions, is it's definitely growing, but there are more awareness of it. So, lots of adults is actually getting diagnosed with ADHD, because when we were younger, like 40 years ago or 30 years ago, it was not a thing. Now there is more awareness around ADHD or ADD or other, or being bipolar or other. But also we like to use labels too. That's
Oh
what
yeah.
my so many people just easily say that, oh, I just have ADHD, that's why I cannot focus, or I have this or that. And maybe they were not even diagnosed, but they just labeling even themselves or labeling others that, oh, just because she cannot pay attention, she probably has something.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be very careful with the labeling part. And so definitely more awareness around these umbrellas, and and um, and definitely I would be careful with the screen time. So, but as you mentioned, people are very busy. Their attention, adults' attentions and parents' attention is in 100 different ways,
Yeah.
because they have to run their household, they have to go to work, full-time parents working. In the US, there is not really like affordable daycares or schools unless you are really can afford a very good one. So it's like that. It's not like, so in Hungary there are daycares around, and which is state funded. You don't have to pay for it. But here in the US, for example, not many options like that. So either you are stay at home with your kids until they are 5 years old and they go to pre-K, or you pay, and it's
Mm-hmm.
heavy money to actually pay for daycare and for good schools. So it's hard, and parenting is hard. It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time and energy and money. And I don't blame parents who do screen time, but there are more and more researchers coming out that there is definitely doing a damage for the kid's brain. And especially the first 5 years are the
Oh
five
yeah.
formative years of for a kid's brain, because the brain is developing the fastest rate, and 90% of the brain is actually wired by the time they are 5. So just imagine how much damage something can do when the brain is so fragile and just developing, especially if you are like not doing something like a slow pace one, but you are giving your kids something like very fast. So there was a social media post about one of the very favorite cartoons or popular cartoons, that how many scenes changing and the little figures how they are jumping, and it's like a drug for your brain. Actually, it's causing an addiction because you are just like zooming on until these little puppies are like running around and changing colors and like different things. So yes, it's definitely giving. So the awareness part, the labeling part, which I would be careful
Mhm.
with, and also do your best, but also do your research that what it can do with the brain, the screen time. So
Wow, beautiful explanation. I have a question regarding this kind of diagnosis like ADD, ADHD. I was asking people like if this kind of, because what I see it's coming like from the mindset, right? It's like more psycho than just like you have a cancer, whatever, that you really have to go to the doctor. But this is what I see like connected to the mental problems, mental challenges. Do you think that it can ever be healed by, for example, constellations or like really one-on-one coaching or like some other kind of, let's say, herbal healing or holistic way of healing? Or when somebody tells you, like, really, you have ADHD, you have 100% of those symptoms, it will never be healed. You just have to follow this procedure or just like get used to it.
so a couple things. It depends on the person's
Mm-hmm.
life. And I don't think that I no, this is like a very sensitive topic if I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
say that, oh yeah, you can heal it or you cannot heal it, because you never know. But I think you can definitely improve it. And
Mm-hmm.
I have been working with clients with ADHD.
That's
And
why I asked this question. I knew that you have this experience.
so I have that experience. I worked with somebody, and it was very interesting that his ADHD was actually coming, rooting to a trauma that happened with his mom and with his mom's brother. And he was taking up energy from that uncle. And that's why his anger and focus problem came in, causing him other addictions too, but also his ADHD. So we can work with family constellation because that's when people wouldn't believe, but there are some very strange connection, unique connection to traumas, what caused that in your brain. And when you clear that out and you give back to the root, to that person who it belongs, and you are not carrying the responsibility and the burden anymore, it can help you. I haven't healed ADHD. I don't want to say that, because but we can improve it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if journaling, what I would say that journaling and other methods can help you with cope with it and actually use it in a better way. So not just like, I hate when a client is saying that this is who I am and I don't want to do about it. Just again, labeling. Don't label yourself. Try to do better than who you were yesterday and try to improve it. Just because you have ADHD or ADD or other symptoms, it doesn't mean that you cannot do better or you cannot improve. You have something and you decide, you take the responsibility that what you would like to do about it. Do you want to learn actually managing task better? There are different task lists, different methods that you can actually do and improve your quality, the quality of your life living with ADHD and other
Yeah,
stuff.
thank you so much for this case. So I knew why I was asking this question somehow because we were talking about this one, and you have this experience, and I hope he's doing much better these days. It's like helping him in his life. It's funny, like we carry on those traumas from our families. It's like, for example, when you have pets, especially cats, when you have them, they like taking your negative energy. Suddenly you feel better. So we do the same as a people, especially we as a children. We unconsciously want to help like our parents to feel more better. We take their energy and then suddenly we have traumas or we have this kind of troubles. But nobody was talking about this before. But right now, there are studies, like you said, and people start talking about, like, okay, I see why I have this one, why I'm so, for example, anxious or overwhelmed, because it's come because I'm taking the energy from my parents or from my colleagues. Even in the work, it could happen, and especially stress. And when you put everything together, for sure, and for example, parents are stressed out because of the work. They bring everything to home, to the household, and suddenly also the children suddenly starts crying, screaming, or whatsoever, right? And I see that some of the people, they feel like they are parents but not enough parents, right? You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah, definitely. So the first of all, as human beings we are picking up energy from our environment. And kids are fantastic picking up energies because they are still not like decluttered with all the stuff that our society puts them onto them, like school and other caregivers and parenting stuff. It's like they arrive pure, their
Mm-hmm.
energy is pure, and that's why they pick up. And we think that, oh, they don't know, but they know, they actually know, and they remember on a cellular level. Maybe my toddler cannot tell when she's 2 now, maybe in a couple years that what happened on this day and we went to the pool. But on a DNA, on a cellular level, she was like, oh, mommy and daddy made me feel safe because I was in the pool and I was jumping in the pool and they caught me. So she would have that connection that, oh, and that wiring in her brain that, okay, I felt safe because even if I jumped into the pool, they caught me and they were there because they were not on their phone. So absolutely energy, we are picking up each other energies very much, and kids are. So when you feel that your kids are misbehaving and you just want to run away and just
Mm-hmm.
out of the door and leave the world behind, and you just don't understand why they cannot be nicer or like more patient with you or just whatever, it's because they are amplifying whatever you are feeling. So that's about energy. And about family constellation is like our love and our loyalty to our parents is above everything, and to our
Mm-hmm.
ancestors. So when you mention that we take away our parents and our ancestors responsibility and other traumas because we are like, oh, I can do this, I can carry it for them. But then you are like feeling heavier and heavier and sicker, or like financially more broken than ever because you decided that I will carry what they couldn't heal. But that's when it stops, then that's when you decide that I have to heal for myself and for my kids, because otherwise my kid will carry whatever I was carrying because they feel the love and the loyalty
Mm-hmm.
towards yourself as a parent.
What was your, I would say, the best case? Like, there was a situation before this person or this, because you were mentioning one on one coaching was like here in this position, and after the coaching and family constellations with you, that you saw the best shift that you could ever see in their life. Like suddenly everything changed. You don't have to mention the names, just like in a generally. If you can give us some example.
Sure. So I have been working with a lady who went through severe abuse,
Aye.
and in her relationship, actually, very close to her. And it took us a lot of time. So I will not lie, it wasn't just one session.
Mm-hmm.
But even after the first session we worked, she said that, and you can read that review actually on my webpage, that she never felt that much herself for a long time than after our first session. And what we had to do is not just healing all that abuse. First of all, when you are sexually abused, like having somebody in the family sexually abusing you, that's like a double trouble. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, first of all, you have the trauma of sexual abuse, and actually somebody who should protect you in that family doing that to you. It's it's even like a more love and hate relationship because it's like, oh, I should love that person, but I hate him because I whatever he did to me. So, and that's what when it comes to family constellation, I never tell to my clients to forgive because that's an extra pressure on them.
Mm-hmm.
So we are not going towards or working towards forgiveness. We are working towards acceptance. And because when you can accept what happened with you and you can be kind of be neutral, emotionally neutral with it, that's when you can take the responsibility and take the remote control of your life. So, because when you say that, oh, my parents were like this and that, and I hate them and I just want to cut them out of my life, that's that's like cutting your wings off, like clipping
Totally.
your wings, because your parents and your ancestors can give so much energy and support, even if you think that they were like who they were. It's on a soul level they can support you, but it's like if you're shutting down your parents or just your father because he was a person living with addiction, it's like clipping the wing or pulling out your feathers and you
Mm-hmm.
just try to like fly without wings because we got this beautiful energy from them. If you watched Avatar, the first one, at the end of the movie, when they are all putting the hand on the main character, and that's what our ancestors are doing is actually putting all that supporting energy. And if you don't want to accept that, it's like you are trying to live your life half with
Mm-hmm.
half of this support and energy that you can get. So what was beautiful with this case that we shifted so much in her in towards this acceptance that it doesn't have to define her, that abuse, but what can she do about it? And slowly we started to integrate all those. I don't like this word, like, I don't like the word broken, but all those clipped parts that was missing to live a more fuller life.
Wow, that's a really lovely case and really tough one, I would say, because that's kind of topic that people don't want to talk about. It. Like you don't just go to the street or you have like a new job and they tell you like introduce yourself and you're gonna tell like, hi, my name is Maria. I was sexually abused by my father. Ba 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 ba. You don't start like this. You don't share your deepest problem to the people because you wanna like be normal, but at the same time you're really like dying within inside of yourself because this stuff is not solved. So I'm happy that your client, this lady, thanks to found a solution and she feels much better. And you explained also very nice like forgive and acceptance. You show us the difference, you know. For me, in my cases, I had some situations where I had to do also acceptance, and later on, I also forgive. I did it this way, so I could continue in my life, and everything was healed after that. Because if you don't do at least acceptance or forgive, whatever it takes to do it, you will still feel like anxious or you will have like this kind of mental problems or you will be like under the pressure, you will be so depressed, or all of a sudden there will be situation that makes you suddenly like pissed off and angry, you know. And I'm so happy that constellation is one of the powerful ways to heal this. But what I see, you really have to have somebody who really understand the constellations. Because what I've been told, when you do constellations and you don't close it properly in 100%, that could cause even worse problems. Do you know about this one or?
That's true. So, family constellation can go so many different ways when you are healing. So when we are really healing in the we work with the family conscientious or the constellation field that
Mhm.
opens up for me and opens up for my clients. And there are so many ways you can take a case. And some clients come to me that, oh, I have money issues, but or I don't find the love of my life. And they feel that maybe that's the most pressing, issue in their life, but a lot of other pillars have to be built before we can put the roof on the
Yeah.
top, on the cherry on the top is actually having finding the right partner for you. So you have to listen what is behind the words sometimes, and that's why I'm testing at the beginning that, okay, tell me the two things that you would like to heal, but we might work on a third or a fourth thing because that comes up and that can actually uh, give you a boost. And also, what is very interesting that some clients come to me, and so first of all, we cannot push
Mm-hmm.
this healing. It's always on a soul level, whatever your soul is ready to release. So even if I want to push you, like, let's go deeper, I cannot. Because first of all, the field wouldn't show it to us, and you might not be ready. So it's just like, I call it like an onion, layers and layers. And sometimes it's just like one layer. Sometimes we can actually, within one session, we can do two layers deep, or three layers deep. It depends. But and sometimes we have to come back on another session because you have to peel the first layer. And after that, if 2, 3 weeks later, another layer opens up, but it's like you have to wait because on a soul level, the healing is still happening. So, yes, it can happen that somebody is not guiding you into the right direction, or they are not working on the right
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So that can happen. And also, that's why I'm checking back with my clients at the end, that how do you feel? Do you feel that it's closed? Or even I ask the field that, are we done for today? And then sometimes my clients is like, there is something else there. And I was like, okay, let's test further. What can it be?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's just another sentence, or like another person comes in and we have to heal one more thing. And it feels like such a small thing, but it's actually, that's when the big thing, that's the magic, when the magic happens. And I usually ask the guides and the field if we are done. And I ask my clients that, how do you feel? And they actually usually feel when it's done for the day. And I see sometimes when they are very tired, then it's like, okay, we worked on this. We should close the session today, and let me know how do you feel in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Because healing is not just during the session, it's actually even
After.
weeks and months later can come up. Yes.
Yeah, I remember this one. I studied NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, in 2017. Yeah, I was doing the healing on myself because I was applying those new NLP techniques on myself,
Yes.
healing on myself. And even after I got a certification, oh my God, my life shifted. I was literally knocked down. I was on my knees asking for, like, oh my God, help me. I literally lost everything. And then suddenly I was just like step by step growing and looking for the answers to my life questions, because I saw that even though you have nothing, for example, you lost your job, or your somebody died in your family, that doesn't mean you will have to be emotionally down for the rest of your life, right? So when I
You are
saw this,
never done. You are
yeah.
never done.
And thanks to you people, coaches, you do the meditation, you do like constellations, you can find like it could shift your life really fast. It doesn't have to
Yes.
take a decade. It could happen within 1 year. You can be like more happy person, much better, much healthier. Even you can become rich within 1 year. Doesn't matter. Like, there is everything possible. Also, you can become a much better parent. Because these days, what I see, like, parents should be taking care also for themselves and still be there for their kids, right? So
Yes.
my question is, how can parents become like better version for themselves and also be there for the kids at the same time, because like what I see, like we talk about in the beginning of this interview, they mostly care about themselves, but they are not here for the kids, right? Mostly.
So, as a parent, what you can do is make a conscious decision that you want to do better.
Wow.
And you have to start it with yourself. So what I see with a lot of parents that they come that just fix it. Just fix the kid. Just fix my husband or just fix my wife. And they want to fix something outside of themselves.
Hmm.
And it can be very painful to see actually that it all starts with you. So when you are pointing fingers like this is not a gun, but as like one of the coaches told me, when you are pointing fingers that it's your problem, actually three points back to you. So it starts with you. So how can you start your journey is actually realizing that you want to do better and you're better. And I don't want to put it this in a way because we already feel the parenting guilt a lot that I'm not there, I'm not enough, I'm not
Hmm.
earning enough money, I'm not buying the things that my kids need. Not in a pressured way, but as like an intrinsic motivator that I want to do it better. How can I do? Ask the question, how can I do it better?
Hmm.
How can I? So even when you are yelling at your kids, next day you feel like, oh, I feel ashamed or I feel guilty because I yelled at them. I'm just tired, I'm exhausted, and I have to do the cooking and the cleaning. But next day the cycle starts again.
Oh
This is
yeah.
because you want to do it the best, but you didn't do the healing and you didn't look for the triggers that why you are yelling at your kids. It's not just about you being tired. There is something in that moment that triggers you. And that trigger, it's like a flashing light showing that something needs to be healing there. And that's when it's like when you see that, okay, I'm yelling, and I'm yelling in these moments when my kids are actually feeling disrespectful, or they
Hmm.
are disrespectful with me, or we are all the time late. For example, I hate to be late. And with a toddler, they are always late. So it's like, okay, what is in me that wants to be always on time or not to be late? And how I want to control the situation all the time, what you cannot do with a toddler. So this is my healing with my letting go of the control part. And when you get that, that's where real healing starts. That's when it's like, okay. And it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. I'm not a perfect parent. I'm far from being perfect. But when I do something, when I feel that I slipped, I reflect. I journal about it. I talk to my toddler, even if she's just two, that I'm really sorry that I yelled. It was not about you. It was about me, mommy
Hmm.
being triggered. And because kids are internalizing, they think that, oh, something is wrong with me. Mommy is angry at me. And I wasn't angry at because of her. She just triggered something in me that, but it
I see.
wasn't in her. So I explained that even to a 2 year old that it wasn't about you. It was mommy not being able to regulate her emotions, because that's another big thing. We haven't learned actually how to. And sometimes we just want to have a temper tantrum like a 2 year old, but the word is saying that you cannot. So, uh, so a conscious decision and starting to ask the question that why I feel triggered, why I feel that I need to yell in this moment and go deeper, not just the surface level, but go five deeper down.
Yeah. We as a people have those triggers. If we realize those triggers, we can actually heal them because it's like a pattern, you know. Sometimes these
Yes.
situations come from the other perspectives, and these patterns, what I can see, they could be healed if it's really like an issue for us. But talking about our childhood, like your
Yeah.
childhood or my childhood in general, do you think that this childhood, the way we grow up, is also affect the way we become parent later on in our lives?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, how we were raised is definitely affecting our parenting. And that's what I realized when I was taking care of those two kids, that
Hmm.
that's when it triggered that, okay, I have to consciously start to heal in myself those moments so I can be a better parent later.
Hmm.
So that's what it all triggered in me, that yes, absolutely. And we still discuss with my mom, and not really with my dad. I just accepted my dad as he is. With my mom is more like, my mom is like, oh, because I did this and that. And I'm like, it's not about that. It's not about personal blame. It's not about like putting the blame on you. It's about, and so I could accept it from a neutral tone. And I was like, I want to change that. Yes, you did that. And yes, it had an effect on me and the effect on my brother, but I can do differently. I can break that cycle for my daughter.
Hmm. Yeah, that's also really nice that you ask your mother, your parents, like what was going on, why I react this way. I also sometimes ask my parents, like, what kind of child was I when I was like a small baby? Did I know what I wanted to have, where I want to live in the life? Sometimes they remember, sometimes not, because it's already like long time ago, so it's normal we don't remember. So I have a question like, what's one thing you wish every parent knew about themselves?
The healing starts with you, and you actually have more power than you think or you give credit for yourself to do. So it's like you are not a puppet. You are just a puppet because you think that the autopilot that is running you has to define you as a parent. But you don't have to. You can make a conscious choice, but you have to have that in you and say that I want to do better. I want
Mm-hmm.
to change. And find your support with that. If it's journaling, if it's meditation, if it's yoga, if it's other holistic therapy, or like traditional, starting with traditional therapy, or reading books. There are so many amazing parenting books out there. Start somewhere. I
Yeah,
didn't start where I am right now 10 years ago. I started with Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now because that was the trend
beautiful
at that
book.
time. So, and there's still one sentence that just resonates with me so much. And I did with the Four Agreements and the Four Questions from Byron Katie. So those were my go-to books. And I did personality testing like the Myers-Briggs and Insights Discovery because I was asking the question that who am I in my core without all the noise that's being put on me for 26, 27 X years. So go deep. I know that especially when you are a parent, going deep, it's hard because you don't have time. You
Hmm.
sometimes you don't have time to breathe or drink or go to the toilet by yourself. But even if like when you wake up or when you are warming up the water for your coffee, you can still tune in and just ask that, okay, how am I feeling right now?
Hmm.
What is that I really need today? Can I give it to myself? And can I get 3 big breaths? Or can I just pause before I want to yell? In that pause, there is just so much power. So there are small tricks. And don't forget that it's a temporary time. It's a period of your life when your kids are younger and it's much harder. Later on, it's harder because they are teenagers and they just want to talk back and they don't respect my, but it's a temporary time and you can heal.
Yeah. I think what I see, I'm not a father yet, yeah, but I would like to be a parent in the future. So what I see, like I have my own goals these days for the future, like with Inspiroqa, with my personal life, with the relationship and everything. So what I see, like when you suddenly realize your girlfriend or your wife is pregnant, so you're gonna be a father, you're gonna be a mother in a couple of months. You have to think about like, okay, you should what I see, you should sit down by yourself and think about the future, that there will be a new people in your family. It's gonna be your son or your daughter, and you should be thinking about like how to become a parent because it's something new. So luckily, you should have to ask yourself like, oh, I don't know how to be a parent, so I need to have this knowledge. So I'm gonna give my best version of myself and still be improving as a parent. So my child or children gonna have a beautiful life, gonna be like a beautiful person, beautiful souls in this world. So my question is as well, like you are already mother, you have a toddler, 2 years old, she's sleeping right now, beautiful, and you have a husband. So some people might think like you are a parenting coach. Is in your life, in your personal life, everything set up really based upon your plans or like 100% okay? Or you also have
Absolutely.
to face some troubles or some, like you have to do some constellations on your personal life,
Oh,
because,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. No. So our life is far from perfect. Just because that's what I try to do. And last year, actually, I was very, very, very sick. So I got like severe allergic reactions, and I'm in Houston. So it's like you would think that, oh, some specialist can help me. I went to 9 different specialists, and nobody could help me. They were like standing there. They took so many tests, they took so much blood from me, and we were all standing there, and they like, we cannot help you, or we put you on like an injection session and it might help. So yes, I actually needed to do, I call it my second spiritual awakening, because last year was a lot of healing for myself, not because of my child. She was not triggering me, the sickness that was triggering me. So yes, far from perfect. Finally, I feel normal, and my face looks so much normal. Last year, it was like double up. I couldn't see through my eyes.
Ay,
My skin was red all the time. I looked like a lobster, like all year. So yes, and if you ask me, I wouldn't go back and do it again. It hurts. I was in tremendous pain, but I cleared so much struggle. I cleared so much poverty from my lineage, and I got fantastic, fantastic healers because I couldn't heal myself. So that's why it's lovely to have somebody outside of yourself who is emotionally not involved, because I could heal and I had aha moments in myself, but I couldn't heal. And there was one point, and that's when my healers helped me over those humps when I couldn't get, because they were like coming from a different perspective, and I was like, oh, this is connecting the dots.
yeah. I truly agree, especially this kind of skin rashes, whatsoever. Doesn't mean like sometimes it could come from some kind of a bug or animal that bites you, have allergic reactions.
Yeah.
That could help you. But sometimes, like for example, for the 1 year you are okay. Next year you follow the same procedures. I mean, like you have the same lifestyle. Suddenly you have like skin rashes on your face, on your forehead. Suddenly you have like whatever it is. And I was like, what is that? How come suddenly I still have the same life? You go to
Mhm.
doctor for sure for the first time and you will see. If they don't have the answers, it's okay. You start searching for somebody else. Maybe it's coming from something within myself because I have to learn something new. I have to be much stronger because there is a higher mission waiting for me, which happened to you. And I'm so glad that you feel finally great,
Thank you.
finally okay. And I'm happy that you shared this personal story too, because some people who are watching this podcast might facing some also life struggling situations, talking about their bodies right now. So there is always the solution. I would say there is solution, and we are coming to the end of our beautiful interview. Time flies. It's been almost
Yes.
1 hour. So usually what I do, I ask one simple question at the end of the interview, which is, what message would you give to the people all over the world? Any kind of message.
I would just repeat myself that heal yourself. It starts on an individual level, and we have to take our own responsibility, and we have to take the control back, the remote control back of our life, and look up for help. There are amazing healers out there who can help you with that.
This was our another episode. I hope you liked watching it. I hope you found the inspiration that we were looking for. So, this is not the last episode we're gonna make. There will be more episodes coming soon. So if you are still looking for a motivation, inspiration, you would like to spread the idea of motivation and inspiration to the other people, you want to support your family, and Together we can create a big community. Feel free to subscribe our channel, give us some comments, recommendations, feedbacks, and if you have any idea for somebody who is so special, just give it, send us the information about these people, and later on we can record the podcast for you. So until next time, see you soon and stay safe.